We're back with a section that many of you absolutely loved and also made some of you pretty angry, but that's what this channel is all about. Here we tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. Today I'm bringing you a fresh list with 5 cars you should avoid in 2026 if you don't want to end up at the repair shop more often than at your own home. Vehicles that at first glance seem like good buys, with attractive designs, competitive prices, and even marketing that paints them as the best option of the year, but hide hidden costs, recurring failures, and problems that can cost you a fortune. The market is saturated. There are more models, versions, and false promises than ever before. And while dealerships do everything possible to sell you anything, here I am to tell you what they don't tell you, with evidence, reports, and real experiences from actual owners. It's very likely that after watching this video, we won't see each other again. So to keep receiving the best automotive content on YouTube, subscribe and hit that bell. Now, yes, welcome to Atif Cars. 5th on the list, Chevrolet Trax. The 5th model on this list has something curious. They sell it to you as cheap, versatile, and reliable, almost like the perfect option if you're looking for a family SUV without spending too much. But be careful, because behind the modern design and attractive price of the Chevrolet Trax hides a list of problems that could ruin your 2026. Right off the bat, one of the biggest reasons for complaints from its owners is something very serious: engine problems. And no, we're not talking about minor details. There are reported cases where the Trax shuts off completely while you're driving it. And if that doesn't seem alarming enough, wait for this. Several owners have also reported smells of gasoline inside the cabin, which points directly to serious failures in the fuel system, a problem that not only affects the vehicle's performance, but puts your safety and that of your loved ones at risk. And if you thought the engine was the only Achilles heel of the Trax, get ready, because the transmission also gives plenty to talk about, but badly. Reports of gear slipping are common, and in some cases, the SUV behaves as if it doesn't know what speed it's in. There are testimonies from owners who assure that even after repairs and revisions, the problem persists. Imagine buying an SUV for the family and not being able to trust even the gear shift, a complete nightmare. Some users have also reported something that borders on the surreal. The SUV has started moving on its own after being parked, even with the parking brake activated. Yes, you read that right. A Trax out of control moving by itself with all systems supposedly activated. And what did Chevrolet do about it? In most cases, nothing. The problems return, complaints increase, and the brand stays silent. Now, if you think these cases are isolated, think again. These reports are especially frequent in the 2019 and 2024 models, so if you were looking at a used Trax or a new one, be very careful. And there's still more. Many owners agree that the Trax doesn't offer a satisfying driving experience. It feels clumsy, unresponsive, not very stable. In a category with rivals as solid as the RAV4, the CR-V, or the CX-5, the Trax falls far below in dynamic behavior and overall quality. And as if this weren't enough, parts availability is also poor. Yes, it's starting to become noticeable that Chevrolet is betting more on other models, and that could make parts for the Trax increasingly difficult to get, with long wait times and inflated costs. In summary, the Chevrolet Trax is one of those cars that seems like a good option until you buy it. Serious engine problems, transmission failures, disappointing handling, and a brand that seems not to want to take responsibility. If you want to avoid headaches, frequent visits to the shop, and unexpected expenses, better stay away from the Trax. And get ready, because the next model on the list is another bomb on wheels that can explode in your face if you're not well informed. 4th on the list, Jeep Wrangler 4xE. Jeep Wrangler 4xE. This is one of those cases where marketing sells you a spaceship, but you end up with an SUV that seems more like a ticking time bomb. Let me introduce you to the Jeep Wrangler 4xE, the plug-in hybrid with a luxury name, luxury price, and an amount of complaints you can't imagine. Let's go step by step. First, the price easily exceeds $50,000, and for that money, one expects a premium experience, cutting-edge technology, total reliability, and of course, that you don't have to sleep with the charger in your hand praying it doesn't catch fire while you charge the car. But that's exactly what could happen. In the United States, the Stellantis Group issued a recall for more than 32,000 units of the Wrangler 4xE. The reason? fire risk. Yes, just as you hear it, the car can catch fire while you're driving it or even if it's turned off and parked, all because of the high voltage battery, which if it overcharges more than it should, can end up in smoke, fire, and a visit from the fire department. And careful, this isn't an isolated case. There are dozens of confirmed reports, videos, photos, and worst of all, an uncomfortable silence from the brand. Now, let's understand something. This Jeep was sold as the electrified future of the brand, a mix of the best of the SUV world with the latest in energy efficiency. But the problem is that when you put so much technology into a single vehicle without polishing it well, what you end up having is a machine with more sensors than solutions. Owners of this model report constant errors in the electrical system, control modules that fail randomly, warning lights on all the time, and visits to the dealership more frequent than the car payments. The hybrid system is so complex that changing a sensor or resetting a code can cost you hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And that's not counting that the battery, if it fails outside of warranty, is an economic death sentence. And let's not even talk about the driving experience, because yes, the Wrangler 4xE feels powerful when everything works, but just one bad update, a software failure, or a module that desynchronizes, and suddenly you're driving a $60,000 SUV that you don't know if it's in electric mode, gasoline, hybrid, or given up, and meanwhile the competition isn't standing still. Ford, Toyota, Hyundai, and even Chinese brands are releasing hybrids much more economical, more efficient, with fewer failures, and a service network more prepared for what the electrified world means. The Wrangler 4xE, on the other hand, is being left alone, trapped between what it wanted to be and what it ended up being, an unfulfilled promise. And careful, because this isn't just a mechanical or technological problem, it's also a direct hit to the wallet, because in addition to what it already costs to buy it, what you spend maintaining and repairing it easily makes it one of the most expensive SUVs to maintain in its category. And with low demand and increasing reports, don't even imagine what will happen with its resale value. Spoiler, it goes to the floor. So if you were thinking about buying a hybrid SUV in 2026 and had this one in your sights, here's your clear warning. The Wrangler 4xE may seem modern, elegant, and powerful, but behind the emblem is an SUV that's literally burning from the inside. You're still in time to avoid a bad decision. And if you don't believe me, just search Wrangler 4xE failures on forums or Reddit and get ready for a night of electric nightmares. Third on the list, Ford Bronco Sport. Ford Bronco Sport. For many years, Ford has been synonymous with reliable family SUV. It was almost a tradition. If you wanted space, power, and presence, you went for a Ford. But times have changed, and what used to be a safe bet today can become a machine of frustrations and unexpected expenses. And it's not just us saying it. In recent years, reports of failures have multiplied, and we're not talking about minor details, but serious problems that compromise everything from performance to vehicle safety. First, let's talk about the engine. Several owners have reported that the vehicle doesn't respond properly when accelerating. You step on the pedal and feel that uncomfortable void, that lack of force, as if the Bronco Sport needed a coffee to wake up. The culprit, a failure in the electronic unit that's in charge of processing the accelerator signal. A failure that's not only frustrating but also dangerous if you need a quick response in a critical situation, like overtaking or crossing an intersection. And if you have or are thinking about buying a Bronco Sport with a 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine, stop for a second, because although that turbo and efficient engine sounds attractive, the story doesn't end so well. When the turbo on those engines fails, and yes, it fails more often than it should, the repair can be as costly as it is unexpected. And the worst part is that this can happen even if you've used the correct oil and respected all maintenance intervals. If you went over even once, get ready to pull out your wallet. Oh, and let's not forget the cooling system, another of the weaknesses that have turned the Bronco Sport into a frequent topic in complaint forums. Many owners have reported visible leaks starting at 30,000 miles, which is not only expensive to repair, but if not detected in time can end up damaging the engine from overheating. The worst part, the system is integrated into the engine, so get ready for a heavy repair. Is your wallet starting to hurt? Well, wait, because something more aesthetic but equally irritating is coming. Several owners have reported that the hood paint starts to crack and peel over time. Yes, even if you wash it, take care of it, and keep it under a roof. Why? Because apparently once the surface gets minimally scratched and water gets in, the paint starts to peel off like a poorly stuck sticker. An aesthetic failure that not only ruins the SUV's look, but can cost you dearly in repairs or make you lose resale value. And while all this is happening with the Bronco Sport, the competition doesn't forgive. Models like the Mazda CX-30 are doing things much better. More efficient engines, lower consumption, better build quality, and above all, fewer visits to the shop. Ford has rested on its laurels, and while other brands evolve, the Bronco Sport is getting trapped in its own past fame. So if you have in mind buying a Bronco Sport in 2026, think carefully, because what you pay for it doesn't end at the dealership. The real bill comes later in the form of costly maintenance, unexpected failures, and that constant feeling that they sold you an unfinished product. Is it worth it? That's up to you to decide. But on this channel, we tell it like it is, so you make decisions with your eyes wide open and not with a steering wheel full of warning lights. Second on the list, Range Rover Evoke. This is one of those cars that makes you turn your head when they pass by. Elegant, sporty, luxurious, it seems to have it all. But if you knew what's hidden under that shiny body, I assure you you'd cross to the other sidewalk. Today, I'm talking to you about the Range Rover Evoke, that SUV that may seem like many people's dream, but in reality can become the worst headache you've ever had as a driver. And it's not just me saying it, it's said by the hundreds of owners who every month publish their Range Rover Evoke as semi-new in perfect condition with less than 15 or 20,000 miles driven. Curious, isn't it? Why would someone sell so quickly a vehicle that's supposed to be a premium jewel? Well, there's the detail. The Range Rover Evoke, especially models manufactured between 2012 and 2018, has a dark history that many people ignore until it's too late. To start, it's plagued with electrical problems, sensors that fail for no apparent reason, false alerts on the dashboard, systems that restart themselves or simply stop working as if the car were possessed. And that's not to mention that the engine, in many cases, has presented overheating problems. Yes, even in a vehicle of this range. Can you imagine paying more than $45,000 for a luxury SUV to stop halfway because the temperature gauge shoots up without warning? And yes, this is more common than you think, especially in the models I just mentioned. Now let's talk about the real monster behind the Evoke, the maintenance. Because of course, when you buy a Range Rover, you know it's not cheap. But one thing is paying for luxury, and quite another is throwing money away every 2 or 3 months on repetitive failures. The bad reputation this brand has in service costs isn't a myth, it's a painful reality. Changing a sensor on a Range Rover doesn't cost the same as on an average SUV. And if it's about the transmission, electronic steering, or any component with a British last name, get ready to cry with the quote. That's why most owners try to get rid of these cars just when the warranty ends, because that's when the little details that begin to multiply like magic. And of course, people see a used Evoke with less than 30,000 miles, leather seats, screens everywhere, and fall into the trap. They buy it thinking they're making a great deal until the first visit to the shop arrives. That's where the charm ends. And no, don't be fooled by the design. Yes, the Evoke is a beauty on the outside. It has aggressive lines, looks imposing, and it seems like you rule the world when you drive it. But inside that car could be on the verge of collapse, waiting for you to take it out of the dealership to start failing, literally. There are documented cases where errors started weeks after the warranty expired. Coincidence or bad karma, you decide. So if you're looking for a premium SUV in 2026 and have a used Range Rover Evoke in your sights, especially from the years I mentioned, think twice, because although you see it shiny, expensive, and full of technology, it can end up ruining your bank account and your patience. And don't leave yet, because number 1 on this list is the one most people buy without knowing the mistake they're making, and when they find out, it's already too late. First on the list, Nissan Sentra. And we reach number first, the model that many continue to buy thinking they're making a safe purchase, but that can become a trap disguised as an elegant sedan. Let me introduce you to the Nissan Sentra, a car that for years was a strong name in the compact sedan segment, but today is at the top of this list because it simply isn't what it used to be. First, what's fair? Yes, Nissan has tried to improve its recent models. The latest generation Sentra looks better, it has more modern technology and some important adjustments, but I'm sorry, the damage is already done. The Sentra's reputation has been dragging so many problems that no matter how much makeup they put on it, people don't trust it anymore. And if you're thinking about buying a used Sentra or a recent model, especially the 2020, stop for a second, because you need to hear this. One of the most reported problems by owners has to do with acceleration, or rather the lack of it. You step on the accelerator and nothing happens. The car doesn't respond, and when it finally decides to move, it does so abruptly, as if you had stepped on a jet's turbo. That lack of progressiveness isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous, especially in traffic situations or when trying to merge onto a highway. And that's not all, I wish, because if you manage to get the Sentra to cruising speed, get ready. Unusual vibrations start to be felt throughout the car, and they're not small. In models like the 2020, owners report real shaking at high speeds, as if the car were trying to tell you something's wrong. And it is, because these vibrations come accompanied by a check engine light, like the cherry on top of the chaos cake. And all of this has one big culprit: the famous, infamous, and hated CVT transmission from Nissan, a technology that was supposed to be the future but became the brand's Achilles heel. Since 2013, all Sentras have been equipped with CVT transmission, and the result has been catastrophic. Problems range from acceleration slips, loss of power, strange noises, to complete failures that leave you stranded in the middle of the street with a face like, "Why did I buy this?" And you know what's the worst? That this transmission is so delicate that a low fluid level or a simple defective motor can finish it off completely. And if you thought CVT maintenance was cheap, I have bad news for you. Repairing or changing it can cost you as much as what you paid for the car, literally. But it's not all about mechanics. The Sentra is also losing the commercial battle. The market is turning strongly toward SUVs, and Nissan doesn't seem very clear on what to do with the Sentra. While its competitors are renewing lines, improving powertrains, and incorporating hybrids, the Sentra remains stagnant, struggling to convince an audience that's already looking elsewhere. So is it worth it? Only if you like living on the edge, having weekly discussions with your mechanic, and dreaming about warning lights every time you accelerate. So be careful when you choose to buy a car this year. Better check out these recommendations that, according to Consumer Reports, are almost perfect, and anyone who wants reliability chooses them as their best buy. Click to see.